Good morning and welcome to This is BPCC. My name is Rose Carmody and joining me today is BPCC instructor LaKeisha Hamilton. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So I want to start off by asking you a few questions.
Sure.
And can you tell us about your professional background?
So a little bit about my professional background. My background is in advertising and public relations, actually. I have a master's degree from New York Institute of Technology. So I have a unique perspective kind of on communications because I've studied different facets of it. And from that, I've worked in marketing as a marketing manager, but my passion is education.
Okay. So what do you teach here at BPCC?
I teach a plethora of courses. I teach intro to mass media, American cinema. I also teach copywriting and news writing, as well as social media marketing.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. Okay. So what got you into mass communications?
I was kind of drawn to personalities and how we engage with each other. My original major was actually psychology, and I enjoyed getting inside people's heads and kind of see how we think. And eventually that kind of led me to communications.
If you could teach like another one, what would it be?
I am actually currently working on a course in media literacy, which is basically our ability to access, understand, and analyze different forms of media.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So how much per day would you say you consume media?
Me, personally, oh gosh, I probably consume about 12 to 14 hours just simply because of the nature of what I do.
Yeah.
But I think most people, I think most people consume about 8 hours a day, which is still a lot.
Yeah, it's like that Apple screen time.
Right.
You know, they're like 15 hours. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
So what like social media platform do you use the most?
Probably Instagram and TikTok are the ones I use personally the most. As far as business purposes, probably Facebook and Instagram.
Do you make TikToks?
I do not make TikToks.
I love making them. So what is your opinion on the future of legacy media, such as newspapers or magazines?
I think that they'll always exist in some form or another. We can see now that legacy media has started that transition into the digital space, right? So those paywall ads that you get when you're trying to view a Washington Post article, it's kind of that part of that transition. So we take a terrestrial or legacy media like a newspaper or even network television, and they always have a digital space that they occupy. So I think that they'll survive, but they'll have to evolve into the digital space, kind of like the rest of the world has.
Yeah, like most things have gone to, because
Yes.
I don't remember the last time we got like a newspaper.
An actual newspaper. They're still delivered, you know, around. Some people still prefer that physical newspaper, but generally there's a generational gap there, right? So usually our grandparents are the ones who are buying newspapers and paper magazines and kind of holding on to that OG form of legacy media, right? But we kind of prefer to go online and read that article really quickly.
Yeah, because that's like the easiest thing too. It's
right,
like,
we have it with us all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to know more about like your class and like how you teach it and like.
Most of my classes are discussion based. I think it's really important for learning to be a collaborative process, and the biggest way for us to learn from each other is to share our ideas and our thoughts and our opinions about things. So my classes tend to get a little rowdy, have discussions. Sometimes the topics that we discuss are difficult, but I think that we learn through that communication with each other that as long as we're respectful, we can have a difference of opinion and we can talk about just about anything.
Of course. So knowing that you teach all these classes, what does social media mean to you?
Social media means evolution. It means advancement. And it means that this community that we live in is global. It's not just these little small pockets that we occupy physically. We can also occupy spaces virtually around the world.
Exactly, like the Zoom classes. And
right, exactly.
That was amazing, yes. So how healthy is social media for users' mental health?
Well, I don't consider myself an expert on mental health by any stretch, but I do think it's a good idea to kind of take a social media break. We'll see sometimes where people will post, overwhelmed, taking a break. So like myself, during the semester, I consume a ton of media. I'm super plugged in because I want to be able to engage with my students on a variety of topics. But as soon as the semester is over, I take a complete break from social media, usually about a week or two, or whatever feels good for me. So I think that once you start to feel overwhelmed, it's good to kind of take a step back.
No, I agree. Sometimes I have to be like, I just have to get off for a while. And like school, like everything is on the computer.
Everything's online now.
And so it's like I would like maybe to use a textbook or one or so, but then at the same time, like why would I carry around this big book when it's on my phone? But anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to kick it over to a break, but make sure you don't go anywhere because we have more coming here on This is BPCC.
Hi, and welcome to Bosch Parish Community College's Sound Recording Technology program. I'm Lewis Williams, and I'm one of the instructors in sound technology. Let's take a look at what we have. All the instructors in the sound program are industry professionals currently working in sound production, whether it be live sound, music performance, or sound recording. We have current and former students who are doing what they love, working in television, radio, recording studios, live sound, in places of worship, and in the movie industry.
I am a non-traditional student, and what brought me to school was spending a lot of time out in the private sector and learning how important specialized training can be. The reason I came to BPCC was because I spent a lot of time in the private sector, in the music scene, and without a lot of guidance or direction. I just had a desire to create art and to be a part of the industry, and coming to school made the most sense because it allowed me to learn some of my bad habits and get rid of those and build good professional habits from the ground up. I feel like Bossier Parish Community College's sound recording program will help my career by teaching me the professional standard practices for recording audio, whether for a commercial song for an artist or scoring a movie or doing Foley, understanding the need for organization and the correct process to get those things done. I think it'll be a big help for me in the professional world.
Our hands-on approach to teaching sound technology, we feel, is the only true way to learn sound production. You cannot learn this technology from reading a book. Because of our approach, we utilize the most up-to-date recording and live sound equipment available for classroom instruction. So, if you want a career in sound recording, music production, live sound, or sound for film, come see us here at Bossier Parish Community College and let us show you how to get started in this exciting industry.
Welcome back to This is BPCC. I am your host, Rose Carmody, and joining me today is LaKeisha Hamilton. And before the break, we talked about the mental health and the social media. So I do have a few more questions. Okay. So what is your preferred streaming service?
I do not have a preferred streaming service. I need them all. I need Netflix for its original content because I think it has the best original content. I need Disney Plus for obvious reasons.
Of course.
I need Amazon Prime because the offerings are so diverse. I need all of my streaming services. I do not have a favorite. I don't have a preferred one.
Of course. See, like with Netflix though, I used to that was the only platform I would watch on.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of all of my favorite shows. Yeah. I do like the original ones, of course.
Yes.
But all my favorite shows are just gone. And I was
well, do you know why that is?
Why?
That is because a lot of legacy media companies have decided to start their own streaming services. And so all of that content that belonged to Disney or ABC is now on Disney Plus and not on Netflix anymore.
Oh, that's true. Because I never thought about that.
Yeah.
All the Disney movies on Netflix, and then they went to Disney Plus. Okay. So, in Intro to Mass Communication, you cover the history of music. What era of music would you say is the best era of music?
Oh, wow. You guys are asking me hard questions. I don't think there's a best. I think it's just the one that you connect with the most. And for me, it's 90s because I'm an 80s baby. And so I grew up with the 90s music. And so to me, it holds a a certain level of nostalgia. But of course, I love the 60s and the 70s too. So.
Oh, of course. Like, do you listen to music like how your mood is on the day? Like,
yes.
Because I do that.
Yes, definitely. I think some people probably listen to music to change their mood, but I definitely like to go with whatever the mood
No,
is.
definitely.
Yeah.
I never like try to change. I'm like, well, this is my mood, so I'm just going to listen to this song. So I heard that you also teach American cinema. Do you have a favorite movie?
It is impossible to have a favorite movie. I love movies so much that there's no way I could choose. I do have some favorite directors. Quentin Tarantino is a favorite of mine. Spike Lee, Guy Ritchie, which most people have never really even heard of.
I've never.
And then of course Spielberg, Scorsese, those guys who are like classic film directors. But no favorite movie.
Really?
No.
My favorite movie is definitely, I don't know if you've seen it, is What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Yes, I love that movie.
I cry every time, and I still watch it, and I cry, and I'm like, I don't want to cry, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
So what is your vision of the future of technology and media?
Oh gosh, my vision. I don't think I could fathom what the future is. If we look at like the difference between the 90s and 2000s in terms of technology, there was such a rapid change, right? We went from having these giant cell phones that we held in our messenger bags to having a computer in our back pockets in the 2000s. So within a decade, there was so much change that happened. So I am unsure about the future, but I'm definitely hopeful. And excited to see what's going to happen.
No, definitely. So we're going to go to a break real fast,
Okay.
but when we come back, we're going to talk more about that.
Awesome.
I like to give people memories. I like to give them something that they can look back on and it sparks some memory that makes them really happy or sad. I'm the instructor here at BPCC. I teach photography, and that includes fine art photography, wedding and event photography, portrait. I also teach Photoshop.
Photography can develop new skill sets and create opportunities.
After retiring in 2012 from the United States Air Force, I decided to find another passion, and that was with photography.
Not every photo shoot has the same needs. That's why BPCC provides instruction in a variety of courses, including portrait, event photography, and fine art photography.
As a student, you can learn all aspects of photography: operating the camera, how to pose your model, developing the right light for a shot, and how to use software such as Adobe Photoshop to polish your work.
It's so neat to be with the students through the process from day one when they're first learning how to turn on their camera, and then when they leave and they feel confident as they get jobs and see their work appear in galleries and on billboards. We want our students to have access to great opportunities, and we're the first college in the state to have a Phase 1 camera. Most importantly, we want them to get their degree and make a living.
Welcome back to This is BPCC. If you're just now joining us, I'm your host, Rose Carmody, and joining me today is LaKeisha Hamilton. And before the break, we were talking about like the future of like technology, and I heard that there's going to be flying cars in 2022. I don't know if you've heard that.
I hadn't heard that, but I think we've already kind of seen that there's self-driving cars, right, with Tesla. And I think that's a natural progression. I don't know if I want to fly in a car though.
I don't think so either. I don't even think I trust like the Teslas. Like, yeah, a lot of people have them, but I don't feel comfortable with the car driving
I want to be in control.
Exactly. No, that's exactly how I feel. So I have to go back to the movie question. Sure. So I have like a really big crush on Tom Holland from Spider-Man. And are you a fan of those movies?
I am a super fan. I've seen all the Marvel films up to this point except Eternals. That's already been released, but I'm super excited to finally get an opportunity to watch that, as well as the new Spider-Man, which is
of course.
creating quite the buzz on social media
because
of all the speculation about who's going to be in it.
So do you think they'll make more of those? Like, they've got to. Like,
Definitely. Yeah. I think Tom Holland is actually signed on for 3 more movies. So, yeah. He's gonna be around for a while.
Great. I'm so excited about that. So, like, what other movies, like, would you say is, like, your next, not series, but, like, something else?
I am
That makes sense.
super excited about the new Matrix film. So
Oh, really?
being someone who grew up in the 90s, The Matrix was really important to my education as a film student.
Yeah.
It was so innovative and so forward thinking, kind of pushed the art forward. And I'm super excited to see what's going to happen in this final iteration of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's going to be so cool.
Christmas Day?
So, have to go back again on about the mental health thing.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're feeling down or something, like, what would you go do?
I
Like,
actually love to go and rewatch shows that I like.
oh, yeah.
Just to kind of feel those feelings that I felt the first time I watched it. That kind of helps me kind of get out of a funk if I'm in a funk, or to help, increase my mood if I'm already feeling kind of good. Just feeling nostalgic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I've heard that you do yoga. Is that something that helps you, like, calm
That
down?
is definitely a part of my mental health, as well as listening to music while I do yoga. That's a big part of like my ritual for my practice. Yoga's been a really important part of my life for the last 9.5, almost 10 years. I found it actually as an alternative to medication for anxiety. And I used it to help kind of maintain control of that. And it was so impactful to my life that I decided that I needed to be able to share it with other people. So I became certified to teach yoga, and so I've been teaching yoga as well for about 3 years now.
Oh, really? Where do you teach it?
I teach usually just do outdoor sessions, one-on-one, but I have a studio called Backyard Yogi.
Cool.
And so, yeah, super cool.
Oh,
super
that
fun.
is so cool. So, like, when you, like, do, like, yoga, is it, like, more of, I guess it would be more of a calming music? Or
It
does
depends
it really?
on my mood. It depends
okay.
on what my goal is, because yoga can be really intense as well. So, like, sometimes I'll listen to, like, rap music while I do yoga. It just depends on what my goal is, what I'm trying to get out of that session. If I want to sweat, definitely probably some rap music. But if I'm really just trying to calm myself, it's usually some meditation music, maybe some rain sound, something like that.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, would you watch it on YouTube, like, before you had your own, like, business or something? Yeah.
I would watch YouTube videos. I would go to classes in other places. I would go to classes online. And so that is how I kind of built my beginner experience, was mostly through YouTube videos. So I'm mostly self-taught.
Yeah, I took, like, one class at the YMCA, and I was like, yeah, I don't think my body can handle that. Anyway, but, so I, like, talking about, like, the movies and stuff, so I take some photos. Like, I'm not, like, a photographer by any means or anything, but I do enjoy taking photos and going out. So, do you have,
So
like,
I actually functioned as a professional photographer for about 5 years. And then kind of moved away from that and spent more time in the social media sphere. And eventually, once I became a yoga instructor, I combined the two. And so a lot of my photography as late, or videography as late, has been of myself doing yoga. So that I can use that to share on my own platforms.
oh, that is so cool. Yeah, because when I take photos, it's more of, like, my little cousins, or, like,
I'm
maybe
kids too. I take pictures of my kids.
like, maybe a little flower that I thought was pretty, but I'm not that good at the editing part. I'll be like, oh, that looks good, and then I'll zoom it out. I'm like,
Not what I thought.
that's not how it's supposed to look. But anyway, so tell me about the Commons Club, or the
Comedia Club.
Sorry.
I'm really excited for Comedia Club in the spring, trying to get as many people as we can. Just because, like I said, I think education should be a collaborative process, but not just with myself and the students, but among students as well. And I think Comedia Club would be a good place to intersect photography and graphic design and video editing and videography with all the students that want to be involved in the club, and maybe make some TikToks or something like that.
Yeah, I'll join.
Comedia Club, right?
If it's making TikToks, I'm there.
Ready to go.
But, like, all of those talents, because so many, like, everybody has, like, this beyond me talents, like, they're so talented, and bringing all of those together, because, like, any social media, like, like the editing, not my part, or like just like anything just that goes into social media.
Right.
That's so like that's talent.
It is, and I think what we do here at BPCC and Com Media is try to develop you guys into storytellers and content creators, right? Because as far as the future of technology, the future of social media, that's the direction everyone's going in, right? Creating content for your school or for a club or for your personal business, and being able to tell a story through that content in a social media space is becoming really important. And I think Com Media Club would be the perfect place for us to explore that.
Exactly. So I've enjoyed this talk 100%,
Likewise.
and I don't want it to end, but I do have one final question.
Sure.
So what advice would you give any potential students thinking about taking your class?
I think that the main thing students should know when taking my class is that an open mind makes the experience so much better.
Exactly.
It is going to be challenging, but it's going to be so rewarding in the end. I think that my classes specifically, my goal is to grow the student into someone who thinks critically, and I think critical thinking helps to mine creativity, and that's what we're all about in Com Media.
Of course, yeah, that's so good. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's episode of This is BPCC. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come and talk to us,
Of course.
and I hope everyone has a good rest of their day, and we'll see you next time on This is BPCC.